Have you ever felt like money always slips away just when you think you've got it under control? Like there's an invisible rule book everyone else received, but yours got lost in the mail? That feeling isn't random. It's not about laziness, bad luck, or the wrong job. It's about programming, the kind that starts before you even know what money means. Most of us were raised inside quiet scripts about survival. Save what you can, don't take risks. Money doesn't grow on trees. These lines sound responsible, but they can quietly wire you for fear instead of freedom. Poverty, then, isn't only about the lack of cash. It's a mental operating system. And like any operating system, it can be rewritten. When people hear that, they often roll their eyes. They think mindset advice is just motivational fluff. But here's what's real. Every financial decision you make flows from what you believe about money. If you think money's only purpose is to pay bills, you'll always have just enough to survive and never enough to build. That belief isn't your fault. It's inherited, handed down through dinner table conversations, family stress, and the quiet tension of overdue bills. Generations replay the same software, fear of loss disguised as responsibility. But once you realize it's programming, you can start rewriting. And that begins with one uncomfortable truth. You can't escape poverty if you secretly tolerate it. That's not an insult, it's a mirror. Because tolerance shows up in subtle ways. It's in the way you shrug at overdraft fees, the way you say, maybe next year every time you dream bigger, the way you convince yourself comfort is better than risk. Freedom starts where tolerance ends. The people who break free from financial struggle don't just desire wealth, they despise the feeling of being powerless. They hate the anxiety of checking the bank app before paying for groceries. They hate the endless waiting, waiting for payday, waiting for luck, waiting for permission. That hatred isn't bitterness, it's fuel. The moment you decide, I'm done living this way, something inside you wakes up. The human brain becomes relentless when it has something to fight for. And poverty, my friend, is worth fighting. Let me tell you a story. A couple once sat in a cold apartment in Pennsylvania, 8 months pregnant, electricity disconnected, water turned off, not because they were lazy, but because what they were working on wasn't working for them. They were trapped in the poverty program, working endlessly inside a system designed to keep them tired. That night changed everything. The man decided he would never again let poverty visit his door. Not because someone told him to dream big, but because he hated what poverty did to his family. That hatred became a compass. Every choice from learning to selling to serving others was fueled by the simple desire never again. It's easy to romanticize struggle. Social media loves the hustle until you make it stories. But the truth is, struggle doesn't guarantee growth. You can struggle for years if you never update your operating system. So here's the real work. Learn to hate what poverty steals from you. Your peace, your time, your ability to say yes to life. And while we're here, don't confuse hating poverty with loving money. That's a trap many fall into. Money isn't a villain or a savior, it's a magnifier. It makes you more of whatever you already are. If you're generous, you'll become even more giving. If you're fearful, you'll become more anxious. The key isn't worshiping money, it's mastering it. It's learning to use it as a tool that buys you the one thing poverty can never offer: choice. Choice to rest. Choice to protect your family. Choice to say no without guilt. When you're broke, every no feels dangerous. When you're free, every no feels like power. So the first step to escaping the poverty program isn't a new job, a side hustle, or an investment strategy. It's a decision. A deep, burning refusal to keep repeating the same cycle. Because nothing changes until you become offended by staying the same. Now, once you've made that decision, what comes next isn't comfort. It's confrontation. You have to face the habits that poverty loves, the quiet partners that keep it alive. And there are 4 of them: sleep, self-indulgence, laziness, and evil, but not in the cartoon sense. We'll get to that. Let's start with the simplest one: sleep. Part 2, the 4 partners of poverty. Sleep sounds harmless, right? But when sleep turns into avoidance, it becomes a thief. There's a proverb that says, a little sleep, a little slumber, and poverty will come like a thief in the night. It's not anti-rest, it's anti-complacency. Rest restores you, apathy rots you. The poor sleep to escape reality, the wealthy sleep to prepare for it. And laziness? It's not always lying on the couch. Sometimes it's emotional. It's procrastinating on hard conversations. It's avoiding the budget spreadsheet because the numbers feel uncomfortable. It's mistaking busy for productive. Poverty loves that confusion. Next comes gluttony, not just about food, but consumption in general. Scrolling, gossiping, binging. Modern gluttony is mental junk food. It numbs the brain so you stop noticing your hunger for purpose. It feeds comfort and starves creation. Then comes drunkenness. That doesn't always mean alcohol. It's anything that lets you escape your own thoughts, over shopping, over scrolling, overreacting. When you rely on distractions to survive your day, poverty doesn't need to knock. You've already opened the door. And then there's evil. Not the kind in horror movies, the kind that hides in selfishness and deceit. Every society that celebrates corruption or punishes honesty ends up poor, not because of karma, but because trust is the foundation of value. When trust dies, trade dies. When trade dies, wealth disappears. That's why the opposite of rich in ancient Hebrew doesn't translate to poor. It translates to evil, because a culture that normalizes wrongdoing is guaranteed to decay economically. Look around. Every place where greed and exploitation rule eventually collapses under its own weight. Evil and poverty are business partners, and they're always hiring. So if those are the partners of poverty, what are the partners of prosperity? That's where we're headed next. Part 3, the partners of prosperity. The wealthy don't just chase money, they court habits that attract it. There are 4 of them: diligence, service, business, and wisdom. Diligence means showing up even when no one's watching. The hands of the diligent make rich, not overnight, but inevitably. Diligence isn't grinding 24/7, it's refusing to quit when progress feels invisible. The second partner is service. Every dollar you want is already sitting in someone else's pocket. They'll gladly hand it to you if you solve a problem they care about. The fastest path out of poverty is to stop obsessing over your problems and start solving other people's. The third is business. Not everyone needs to start a company, but everyone needs a sense of ownership. Business isn't about selling products. It's about building something that pays you even when you sleep. It's learning to move from labor to leverage, from trading time to trading value. And the fourth is wisdom. Not knowledge, wisdom. Knowledge fills your mind. Wisdom changes your moves. It's the difference between knowing that saving is good and actually setting up the automatic transfer before you can talk yourself out of it. Wisdom evolves through 4 stages: ignorance, the absence of truth; knowledge, the accumulation of it; understanding, the assimilation of it; and wisdom, the application of it. The world doesn't reward knowing, it rewards applying. That's why most people stay stuck. They collect advice but never act. They drown in financial podcasts yet never open their bank app. Wisdom is movement, and motion creates wealth. But there's one more thing. Wisdom that's purely worldly, selfish, manipulative, exploitative, will eat itself alive. The wisdom that lasts is pure first, peaceful second. It builds, not burns. It seeks truth before convenience. Because prosperity without principles is just corruption wearing a Rolex. When you combine diligence, service, business, and wisdom, money stops being mysterious. It starts becoming predictable. Not fast, not flashy, predictable. That's real wealth. The kind that lets you sleep in peace instead of fear. Part 4, the escape plan. So, how do you rewrite your poverty programming? First, identify the voices that taught you to settle: your family, your teachers, your culture. Not to blame them, but to stop obeying them. Second, decide what you hate. Write it down, be specific. Maybe you hate being one emergency away from panic. Maybe you hate having to explain your dreams to people who've already given up on theirs. That emotion will fuel your transformation. Third, fall in love with what creates prosperity: service, discipline, curiosity, integrity. These aren't fancy traits, they're quiet habits that compound. Fourth, make wealth boring. Automate your savings, track your spending, read 1 page of a financial book daily. Don't chase excitement, chase consistency. Because boredom builds empires, excitement builds debt. Finally, guard your peace. Wealth isn't about escaping work, it's about escaping fear. When you can look at a bill, a crisis, or an opportunity without panic, you've already escaped the trap. Money isn't freedom, mastery is. And mastery starts with self-respect. If you've watched this far, remember, you're not broken, you're programmed, and every program can be rewritten. The moment you decide that poverty is not an identity but a temporary condition, you've already started the escape. So keep learning, keep serving, keep building the life poverty promised you couldn't have. I'll see you in the next video.